who's the greatest fighter of all time?
Me?
You could beat Mayweather?
Hell yeah, I beat his ass before.
What's up, everyone? Paulie malignaggi here for Paulie TV. We got the big pay-per-view coming up. Benavidez against Andrade. To me, this is actually a potential. It has the potential to be the most fun fight of the year that's been on pay-per-view. I know we've been pretty hyped up about some of the other pay-per-views, namely when we got Crawford versus Spence, but that one turned out to be a dud. Canelo versus Charlo turned out to be a dud. Davis versus Ryan Garcia turned out to be a dud. Hey, man, my hopes are high for this one. I think it's a really good show. It's going to be the last pay-per-view in the existence of Showtime's boxing. And I think it's shaping up to be a good one. Listen, we got three pretty good fights. I mean, Charlo versus Jose Benavidez, by the names, is good. I didn't like the fact that Charlo didn't make weight. I mean, for me, that's one of the big complaints about this whole thing here is Charlo's ability to be able to hold on to the WBC middleweight title, be able to fight at this catch weight, and then still not make weight. But I mean, at what point do you strip him? I mean, that's crazy. That's crazy to me. But he showed up overweight in his first fight in a couple of years. And I'm kind of not even surprised, man. I don't know where his head is at, but we'll see how that fight goes on. But I really like that Ergashev versus Subriel Matias fight. I really think it's going to be a good shootout. I think Ergashev's footwork is a little bit better and may be the difference here. Both guys can punch. Matias forces a really, really good pace, but he's a little bit slow on his feet. Ergashev has a slight in and out movement where he's just out of range, so he's able to kind of pounce on you right away when you come up short. It's a good fight. Both guys are good body punchers. I really like that fight, so it's a good card. But let's go into the main event, man. Benavidez against Andrade. Two guys that, by and large, could have got the Canelo fight at any given point during their careers and just have not been able to get the bigger fights. Benavidez, though, coming off of the biggest win of his career over Caleb Plant, so he's got the momentum riding behind him. Andrade's never been beaten. He's never been in with one of the major elites, so to speak. Some of that is his fault. Some of that is the fault of the other guys as well. Some of that has to do with boxing politics. But at this point and at this age, does he have enough to take on a guy like Andrade? The overall matchup really gets me. I love that. But also at the same time, stylistically, Andrade gets a bad rap for being a guy who doesn't have a fun boxing style. But he's also not a guy who just plays it totally safety first either. Like, for example, Shakur Stevenson was getting criticized the other week for fighting a very safety first fight. Totally a perfect fight in my eyes as far as boxing technique is concerned. But of course, it could have been a little bit more exciting, right? And sometimes when guys are that good, they get criticized. But I don't think Andrade is of that ilk. You see Andrade using his physicality. You see him being dirty on the inside, especially early. He gets aggressive. He throws big shots. He kind of throws wide at times in his awkward way, his awkward fashion. But he's very, very athletic, so he kind of gets away with it. I think he's, I don't understand why I don't really get the whole he fights a boring style. He fights an unorthodox style, and he's very difficult to beat. And one thing you know about guys that are difficult to beat, when they don't have the big push behind them, nobody wants to fight them. And I think that's been Andrade's biggest problem. But I don't find him to be that boring. I'd like to see him be able to finish fights because he gets so many knockdowns early on. I mean, Andrade, for the fact that he's not known as a puncher, gets a lot of knockdowns. He just doesn't finish the guys off. And he tends to start really fast. Benavidez, on the other hand, is a guy who does the opposite. So this is sort of a fight where one guy's strengths fall into the other guy's weaknesses and vice versa, right? So Benavidez tends to start really slow, but then he picks up the pace as the fight goes on, and he really makes it a very, very difficult, physical, rough pace for the opponent, and that usually either gets the opponent out of there, or he's able to get a decision like he did against Caleb Plant. So I think it's really interesting because Andrade starts fast. Benavidez has said when we were interviewing him at the network I work with at ProBox TV that he's going to meet him if he starts fast with starting fast as well. And that's not something Benavidez usually does. So I find that really interesting. If he starts that fast, if Benavidez starts that fast, is he still going to be able to finish fast as well, finish really ascending with the pace as well? Because I think part of the reason why Benavidez is able to finish so strong is because he starts so slowly, right? So let's say Benavidez starts fast and meets Andrade's typical fast start head on, right? First of all, you're going to have some nice fireworks at the beginning of the fight, where both guys are going to be landing some good shots, and both guys are going to really be trying to rip each other's heads off. Because, like I said, Andrade gets a bad rap for me to be a boring fighter, because he's trying to take your head off, especially early on in the fight. So, let's say Benavidez meets him head on with the fast start as well. We got a good fight. is Andrade going to fade at that point, like he typically does? Will Benavidez be able to keep getting stronger as the rounds wear on if he's forced to fight at a faster pace early on? These are some of the questions that you kind of have to ask yourself if this fight kind of ends up evolving in this manner as well. I kind of see Benavidez starting to pull away as the fight wears on. I do see Andrade even starting really well and even being the lead early on. It's just, you know what it is, man? At 168 pounds, he hasn't got a lot of experience at this weight. Yeah, he's a pretty big guy. He's been at 154. He's been at 160, and he carries the weight well. But Benavidez is a 168 who's probably on the verge of going to 175. I mean, he's a big guy. And Andre didn't have a lot of power, at least staying power, as far as the power to stay with you as a fight wears on, even at the lower weight classes. So I think he's going to have a problem as the rounds wear on against this strong guy like Benavidez. Again, there's a little wild card there where if Benavidez starts early, if he starts fast early, does he still have the same gas tank late in the fight as he usually does? That's the one wild card you got going for you. But for me, I think Andrade starts really well. I think we may even see a knockdown or two earlier in the fight for both guys, actually. It's possible. But I think Benavidez actually stops him late, around 9 or 10, in what will be a good fight. I think it's a good fight. I'm hoping it's a good fight. I know boxing fans always want to see a good fight, and I know some of the pay-per-views that have been promising good fights, even on paper this year, have not delivered that. But I think this is going to be a good fight, and I think Benavidez really steps on the gas tank as the fight wears on and ends up getting Andrade out of there in a fight that I think people will remember, and I think in a fight that I think people will wind up appreciating Andrade more for the loss than people have appreciated him for the wins. At least I hope they'll appreciate him, even if he comes up short, because I think he's been an underappreciated fighter. But I think Benavidez will set a statement to get the Canelo fight, which is kind of disappointing as well, because looks like Canelo is going to be aiming toward Jaime Munguia in May, which is a fight that I guess goes for Cinco de Mayo, right? I mean, two Mexicans, it's going to sell very well. And Munguia is a fun style of fighter and will probably create a fun fight against Canelo. But, you know, it's not the Benavidez fight. It's the fight that we wanted, right? But let's not put the cart ahead of the horse, right? Let's watch Benavidez and Andrade this weekend. Let's see how it plays out. Let's see if Benavidez is able to win impressively. Let's see if Andrade is able to pull off this upset. Let's see if Andrade, if he's able to pull off the upset, would be the guy that would kind of make right all of the underappreciation that he's received throughout the course of his career. You know, it's a very big spot for both guys, very big moment for both guys, and for me, the most difficult fight of each most difficult fight of the careers of each guy, you know, and that's with respect to Caleb Plant, who obviously was a good step-up win for Benavidez. But I think Andrade is even an even higher level, and you know, it's a fight where both guys are going to be put to the test more than they've been tested before. Really, really looking forward to this fight. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Let me know what you guys predict. Let me know what the chances you guys give Andrade for the upset, you know, because Andrade has been a good fighter. This is a guy that I've known since he was in the amateurs, and even Benavidez. I mean, I sparred Benavidez when he was about 13, 14 years old. He was bigger than me already, but nonetheless, I sparred Andrade as well when he was about 17 years old. So I know I go way back with both of these guys, and I've really enjoyed watching their rise to the elite of the sport. Let me know what you guys think of the fight. This is Paulie Malignaggi for Paulie TV.